With the candlelight ceremony and something very special that we've got for this year, we'd like to welcome back the face of the relay to share her story. And I think we've got the lovely Ally Chant. Would you please give her a big round of applause and welcome her back? Yes, the face of the relay, Ally Chant. All right, now, Ally, you might want to tell us your story.
Oh, both of us. Right. Okay. Hi, I'm Tazzy. I'm Ally's mum, and we kind of wrote something for this. So, in the small hours of the morning, just before the sun fully lifts, there's a hush, a still. It's the time when the world is calm before daybreak. It's the time, in truth, when I'm writing these words, and it was also the time when life completely changed. No one really goes through life with the expectation that one day, at 4 in the morning, everything will change. That the house you're renting will be left empty and unlived in. That the kitten you found on Easter will develop abandonment issues because there's no one there to care for him. Or that your happy little girl is suddenly getting an ultrasound and you hear the words, "We can't find her kidney." Then you know deep down, what's coming next are the words you never imagined being said to you. You know that beyond those words is a life that seemed like it was only ever mentioned in charity ads, on television, or a plot point in a movie. Like a faraway concept that happened, just not to you, not directly. My mother cried for exactly 1 minute. I just shook violently for a while, though true to form for both of us, that was all about, all the time and patience we had for that. There were things to do and a little girl to take care of. There was no clothes, no car, no suitcase, just my daughter and I in the back of an ambulance after 9 hours in the hospital. I had my phone, my wallet, a bottle of water and a packet of orange Tic Tacs to my name. It was on a 2-hour trip that felt like a lifetime, even if we were only halfway there. That was until a small bandaged hand found its way into mine and stopped time altogether. "Everything's gonna be all right, Mum." She smiled when she said that to me and never stopped smiling after that. Even on the days that she felt poorly and even when there were things that she didn't want to do. Ally's journey with cancer treatment was a giant 2-year roller coaster, and she took it in stride like a champ. It started with a large protrusion out of her left side. 2 weeks was all it took. Honestly, it looked like she'd swallowed a whole loaf of bread. Clearly, something was wrong, and what eventually was diagnosed as late stage 3, soon to be borderline stage 4 kidney cancer, a Wilms tumour, was certainly not going to wait around for the paediatrician's appointment that we managed to get. By the time we got down to the Royal Children's, we knew that things were going to get rough. Biopsies, meetings with surgeons and medical teams. It was overwhelming. And I feel like the discovery of cancer is like the initial drop of a roller coaster. Everything happens at once. It hits you hard and fast, and almost all of the time you're not expecting it, even if you know it's coming. Chemotherapy and radiation treatment were, funnily enough, one of the easiest parts of Ally's experience with cancer. And you know what, I don't say that lightly. Chemo and radiation are not easy things to go through, though I think that because of how Ally remembers the experience, it'll make you understand a little better why I don't remember a day where Ally didn't smile, even when she was going through treatment.
What I remember most about my treatment was all the friends I made. I was never alone when I went and got my chemo, because there was always someone just like me sitting next to me, even another Allegra. We'd always be getting treatment on the same day, and whenever they'd call out our name, we'd both turn around and be like, "Yeah," And then we'd laugh because the nurses would forget that there were two of us because we had a really unusual name. My friends and I never really noticed we were getting medicine most of the time because as we were too busy playing on our Nintendo DS together or doing some activities on the iPad or with the teacher that came to see us each day. There was even a school all at the hospital. In the end, we all had something wrong with us, but it didn't really matter because we were all together, and that part was fun. Even when I got my kidney removed, I still made a friend in the surgical ward.
Speaking of the surgical ward, boy, did those two girls tear it up once they were back. Though, for me, it was one of the most terrifying nights of my life. It's the wait that scares you the most when the estimated surgery time is far longer than what they told you the standard procedure takes. I think a lot of people here can kind of relate to that. The miracle of what happened in that surgical theatre, though, is nothing short of just that. It was a miracle. Going into that surgery, Ally had responded amazingly to chemo, and of course the surgeons had booked high dependency for her after the operation. There were quite a number of complications with Ally's operation. Cancer cells that hadn't been detected had compounded onto the back of her diaphragm and attacked her lymph nodes as well. The chance of it spreading had now increased dramatically. Due to those complications, her surgery took longer than they expected and intensive care was then needed. Where's the miracle in all of that, you ask? In the fact that she pulled through so strongly after those complications that she didn't need high dependency or intensive care. In fact, she came straight back to the ward. She sat up, she spoke, she was hungry, she was thirsty, and within 3 days, she had recovered so well that she could walk. In fact, in 3 days, she wasn't only walking, she was dancing. And even though she did get a secondary spot in her lung, with continued chemo and radiation, she danced right out of the hospital when that too was beaten. Though Ally's story didn't really end there. In fact, what happened next was probably the hardest part for all of us, reintegrating back into school and normal life. Unfortunately, Ally didn't have the kindest of classmates. Not only was she verbally bullied for being pale and having no hair, but physically bullied as well. It was so bad, in fact, that suspensions and expulsions of those parties responsible didn't deter the physical acts that were coming every other day. Older kids and her own classmates alike. So to keep herself safe, I enrolled Ally into self-defense. As always, they were joining deals, like a whole week of classes free. So, naturally, Ally stuck around for things like Muay Thai, mixed martial arts, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Well, you can see where that led, can't you? 10 classes a week and going strong. My family always joked that a treatment would make Ally a superhero. That's how origin stories work, isn't it? Radiation and chemicals. Feeling sick for a while, but after that being stronger than ever. Honestly, I think we were more right than we bargained for, looking back. Out of her darkest times came Ally's greatest joy, her sport and her passion. When moving back to Toowoomba, after all of this had happened, we spent a lot of time trying to find Ally a coach. 1.5 years, to be exact. Due to the nature of the sport Ally loves, it's difficult to find a place that will accept kids, let alone one with Ally's medical history. Sadly, we were rebuffed by every place we called, even when asking about private coaching. But all good things comes to those who wait. As you'll see in a video soon later, and in the opening lap, Ally has a truly amazing second family. Everyone at Sublimate, who are sitting down the front just there, welcomed us with open arms, even though Ally was one of the only kids enrolled in classes at the time. They didn't judge her by her past or limit her potential because of it either. In fact, Sublimate is where Ally found her true place in the world and in life.
Sublimate is my home. I've heard Mum say that if I could live there, I would. It's fun and I love rolling. That's what we call wrestling, by the way. At first you feel